speaker. Dr. Amit Roli.
Very good afternoon, ma'am. Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes.
Good afternoon, one and all. Here we have Dr. Manjula S. Haleholi, an eminent homeopath, as speaker for today's scientific talks. Let me introduce ma'am. Dr. Manjula Haleholi got her BHMS graduation degree from LEA Homeopathic Medical College, Dharwad. Post-graduation in MD Homeopathy from Dr. B.D. Jati Homeopathic Medical College, Dharwad. And currently pursuing her PhD from Dr. D.Y. Patil Homeopathic Medical College, Pimpri Chinchwad, Pune. Ma'am is currently working as professor and head Department of Homeopathic Pharmacy at Dakshin Bharat Hindi Prachar Sabha's Dr. B.D. Jati Homeopathic Medical College, Postgraduate Research Center, Dharwad. Additionally, ma'am holds various positions as member, Board of Studies undergraduate, member faculty, as well resource person for Academic and Administrative Training Institute at Rajiv Gandhi University of Health Sciences, Karnataka, Bengaluru. Ma'am has also been appointed as an inspector by Central Council of Homeopathy, New Delhi. Ma'am is also an editor for Homeopathy Sans Frontiers, quarterly magazine published by Dr. B.D. Jati Homeopathic Medical College, Dharwad. Ma'am is life member of Karnataka Qualified Homeopathic Doctors Association, as well Homeopathic Medical Association of India. A motherly nature incorporated with excellent clinical knowledge. May I now request Dr. Manjula Haleholi to carry on with scientific session. Ma'am, please.
Yeah, thank you so much, Amit. Good afternoon, everybody. So the time is very less. I will start my session. I will share my screen.
You can use your time what is allotted, madam.
No, okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah. We will not cut down your timings.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
30 minutes is your time. You can start.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you. So good afternoon, everybody. So I'm sharing my clinical experience for the role of susceptibility in the selection of the potency. So there you can see that a very large question mark over there, isn't it? We have a lot of questions regarding the selection of potency, susceptibility, gauging the susceptibility, the posology itself, the doctrine of dosage itself. We have a lot of questions because it is considered as a guardian knot. Okay, something which it is left to physician. What physician wants. Some are the classical homeopaths are there, they give only one dose and they will ask their patients to come back after 2 months or 3 months. Like that also we have seen. And some are there which they give every day, repeatedly. And in both works, it is not like that they it does not work like that. Both works. Why they work is because it is because of the similar principle. It is because of the similar principle. So it is in general, it is stated that any curable disease is cured by any potency, right? It will be cured by any potency if it is indicated by a similar remedy. But the cure will be accelerated by selecting the proper potency to that individual case. That is most important. So what Hahnemann wanted, rapid, gentle, permanent cure, that we wanted means we have to switch on to the potency selections. So these three principles already we are well versed. Law of similia, therapeutic law of nature. We know that one, no need of explanation. Law of simplex, we need to give single simple medicine, right? That also we don't have any problem. Comes to law of minimum dose. What is minimum dose? How much is the minimum dose? This is the one topic which consists of many opinions, discussion, and controversies, misunderstanding. It is considered as this one, three-legged stool. Often, the minimum dose is the one which creates the imbalance. Let us understand what it exactly means with the clinical demonstration. So, the minimum dose is that dose which should not produce symptoms when used therapeutically. So, what Stotler says that homeopathic cure is obtained without suffering, without production of new symptoms in a positive and a direct manner, by subphysiological and subpathogenetic doses, right? It should not produce symptoms when used therapeutically. When you are treating the patients, it should not give them. So because of this minimum dose only, Dr. Hahnemann could build his system, homeopathy. Because law of similar was known to world before Hahnemann also. but because of they were not using the minimum dose, because of that only they failed to apply it practically. So again, we need to give importance to the minimum dose because we want rapid, gentle, permanent restoration of health, right? So choosing the potency is an integral part of the prescription, which we all are forgetting, right? So it is as important as selection of the remedy. Somehow we'll select the similar remedy. If I take if I go to one, if a patient comes to 5 homeopathic physician, all will prescribe, I suppose, okay, all will prescribe different 5 remedies. All will act because all are partially similar, right? So which is most similar, which has got most appropriate potency, that will hit the case. Okay, so that we wanted, the choosing the potency. Sometimes it is said that the potency, if the well-selected remedy also fails to act because of the potency, it may injure to the case. So it is very, very important as the selection of the potency. Potency has been, the series of potencies have been compared with the gamut in the music, right? So skillful artist will definitely construct his vibrations, okay, with his person. But how beautifully he will construct, how perfectly he will construct with that instrument, that is more important. Okay, so anybody can do it, but what we want is the beautiful, that beautiness and the perfectness to restore the health. That is more important here. Okay, so when a similar drug is given, or leave that one, similar, any drug, the action of the drug itself, whether it is pathogenic or curative, okay, whether it is toxic or curative, it will depend upon the dose, okay, and susceptibility of the patient as well as the principle upon which it is given. Okay, what happens when the similar remedy is given to the patients? Okay, anybody will answer? What happens when similar remedy is given? Okay, little or no resistance is offered. Why? Why? Because the sphere of action of the remedy is already invaded by the disease-causing agent. The resistance is already overcome by the disease-producing agent. So the homeopathic drug will act in the similar manner as disease-producing agent. So the susceptibility to the similar drug is therefore greatly increased. That's why once again it confirms that we need to use minimum. There are so many criteria are there to gauge it. There are some criteria like susceptibility of the patient, the seat of the disease, nature and intensity of the disease, the stage and the duration of the disease, the previous treatment of the disease, etc. Okay, so this I will try to demonstrate with my cases. Only 2 cases I am going to present. One is a chronic case and another one is an acute case. So with that, I will try to gauge all these criteria for the selection of the potencies. So first case, what I am presenting is a chronic non-healing wound. So let us understand the pathology of chronic wound. Is a wound that does not heal in an orderly set of stages. Stages are there for healing purpose, that will not heal in that. Okay, it will take much time. The maximum 3 to 6 months is often considered as the chronic wound, and it's non-healing. There are many causes out there: poor circulation, repeated trauma, systemic illness, age, neuropathy, etc. So here I am presenting chronic non-healing wound. It was my earlier period of 10 years back case, but it brought me many cases. So I still remember that case, and I would like to present that. So this was 80 years old businessman, had a wound on the dorsum of the right foot since 3 to 4 months. He was non-diabetic, non-hypertensive, no other complaints, not even the pain. Please make it there. So here, that much of gross pathology, you can see that one, no? So that much of gross pathology, no pain at all. And the patient was not giving any history at all. He was so restless. He was so restless. So even his children complained that because of his restlessness only, he wants to go to the shop, he wants to talk about the businessman, something he wants to do. He will not sit at one place. Because of that restlessness only, because of the repeated injuries, he was sustaining the same injury to that right foot only, and that wound was continued. So his children said about his appetite is very less, thirst is less, sleep also disturbed, moaning. Okay, he was too weak to move. What I observed is too weak to move, and he was not at all giving case to me and talking about irrelevant things about business, what to do that one, how to do that one, whether that child went, his son went to shop or not. He was not talking to me at all. Okay, that much he was restless. So you can see that edema, isn't it? So one more thing, it was bedridden patient. I visited their home. When I entered their home itself, that offensiveness I could appreciate. That much it was offensiveness. So you can see the necrotic tissue also here, and the size of the wound was 2 centimeters. Right? So if it had left, it would have gone something else. I don't know. So next, what happened? I selected arsenic alb. Why arsenic alb? Because the offensiveness, the restlessness, then the prostration, talks about his business. Okay. So all this made me think of arsenic alb. But what happened is he was so thirstless, right? He was so thirstless, and he was just taking sips of water. That's all, 1 or 2 spoons of water only. I was thinking, we always think that arsenic alb means thirsty only. So I was thinking that why this thirstlessness is so much mark here is whether to give arsenic album or not. I discussed with my colleagues. I usually catch somebody and I will discuss with my cases. So I catched him and I discussed with my colleague. Then he said arsenic alb is thirstless in chronic cases. It is mentioned in Kent Lectures of Metra Medica, where he says that arsenic album is thirstless in chronic state, whereas he is thirsty in acute state. So arsenic album has. Okay, that is fine. But why 6C? 6C, that is the only the potency what I wanted to see. So gross pathology, but no pain. That much pathology is there, no pain at all, no itching, no pain. He doesn't have that sense that he has a wound also. The maggots were moving, he doesn't have that bothering also. Old age. Okay, duration of the wound was more than 3 months. Right. So these all made me think that susceptibility is modified by the pathological condition. If the grade of the disease is low, power of the reaction will be low, so the potency must be low. So I selected arsenic album 6C, and after a week, this is the case. You can see that one, what happened? Offensiveness decreased. Again, it's my home visit today. Maggots increased. Right? Maggots increased. Rest of the symptoms were like that. No change in that. But what I observed is earlier in the wound, in the first visit, you have seen that yellowish slough and the edges of the wound. Now it was filled with red color. That is granulation tissue started forming. Okay, so that granulation tissue has started. Only that was a change, and no change in the physical generals, and nothing in his complaints, restlessness. Everything was progressive. Okay, so then the change is there, but it is very little. I wanted to go for and it for the same drug. So arsenic album 6C. Earlier, I have repeated 3 times a day. Some change I noticed, and I gave arsenic album 6C once in a morning. One more thing I forgot to tell, that I asked them to clean that wound with a calendula lotion. They have only prepared the calendula lotion, 1 ml of calendula mother and 9 ml of water. Daily they have to prepare, and every day they have to use that 10 ml within that 3 times a day. They have to just clean it, nothing else. No more creams or nothing like that. Just they have to clean with calendula. That was going. Okay. Arsenic album 6C was repeated only once in a day. Right. Then after that, a week, he started developing itching at the site of which I was waiting for, which is a remarkable reaction. Edema little bit decreased, necrotic tissue also decreased, maggots and wounds are also decreased. The wound bed was increased. That day, that old man did not allow me to take photograph. That's why it's not so clear. Okay, but that you can appreciate between the photos, the earlier and this one. So granulation tissue has increased, right? So when it has increased, so what I thought is reaction has come. I have to wait. I adopted wait and watch policy, and Saclac was given to him. Just I will. Then within few days, 2 or 3 days, on 6th they have come, and 7th, but 10th they came back to me complaining of fever with chills. And the patient was has become thirsty, and temperature was 100 degree, pulse rate was also. But as I said, no, this was my first 10 years back. I was not matured enough to gauge that change in the symptomatology. I thought I have given Saclac last week. That's why he's not responding to that one. But let me give once more arsenic album, whether he will respond to that one. I thought like that, and I prescribed arsenic album 6C, and it did not work. It changed the symptomatology, and I gave same drug as well as same potency. So it did not work. The next day, fever continued. When the fever continued, I was little this one, because it was like I was whether to give it or not, whether to send to the hospital, other hospital. I was thinking. Then what I thought, let us give one more dose of arsenic album 30. Then after that, by the evening, they may go to the hospital, any allopathic hospital. I suggested. But by the evening, fever started reducing. So this is the case. So patient reacted well to the lower potency by developing a fever, which was a good sign of inflammation. Often whenever fever patient comes, we treat it, but it is a good sign of inflammation. We need to wait for what purpose that fever has. So this was the beginning of the inflammatory reaction. By next day morning, by evening only temperature reduced. They said, no problem, madam, temperature has reduced, we'll wait. So next day morning, if the patient is all right, we'll not go to any hospital, we'll continue our medicine this. So what is the plus point in that one is this 80 years old man, whenever he takes allopathic medicine, he used to have a diarrhea. That was the reason they were not avoiding the allopathic medicine. That was plus point for me to give the medicine, to continue my medicine and my treatment. Okay, so next day, you see the case, fever totally reduced, wound size was reducing. Previous day and that day, I didn't took the pick because of his fever. Looking at his temperature, just I waited. Okay, but maggots were totally absent now. Restlessness still persists. Previous prescription, I have given arsenic album 30 globules I have given. So here in now, I gave water dose. I wanted to give some more strength to that arsenic 30. I don't want to give 200. Okay, so I wanted to give less potency for that. Arsenic album 30 water dose was given to him. Okay, and I asked them to wait for 10 or 15 days because the granulation tissue was superbly formed. The patient was improving. Okay, and thirst is also improved. We'll watch. After 15 days, this was the case. Restlessness was still there. Wound size, edema, offensiveness, necrotic tissue, everything was reduced. Arsenic album 200. Why? Why 200 again? 1 second. See, in the beginning of the case, where there is a low vitality, deficient reaction, few doses of low potency will help us. Once the reaction comes, we need to go for higher potency. That restlessness was not at all reducing. He was so restless. He wants to move out. He was too weak to move out. Still, he wants to move. He wants to go to his shop. He wants to sit in the shop. So I gave, thinking that 200 might help him. So I raised the potency and symptomatology called for same thing, arsenic album. So I prescribed arsenic album 200. And this is my last follow-up for that patient. Wound healed, appetite improved, thirst. He was drinking only whenever he feels. Sound sleep, restlessness reduced. That was I wanted. And this is the case. Totally, you can see that one. The difference I will show you. This was the first day. This was the first day, that yellowishness, that slough, the edges of the wound. This is the last day. Thereafter, they didn't return. If they have returned, I would have taken another pick. But this was the last day. Right? Usually, chronic wound, he will within 6 months, 3 to 6 months. Okay, this is a classical presentation of chronic non-healing. Even though pathology was so deep, case was favorable because of his physical generals were very peculiar. So added to that one, he was non-diabetic, non-hypertensive, that one also. And he is not taking allopathic medicine, that one also. Okay. So all this made me, the case was favorable. Okay. The potency, patient reacted well to the potency by developing a fever, which was a good sign of inflammation. This was the beginning of inflammatory reaction. Once that granulation tissue formed, no, that maggots and all, it went. Wound bed is filled with granulation tissue and healed within 40 days. That was so. Usually with the antibiotics, it takes 3 months to heal. With homeopathy, we could achieve it in 40 days. So this was my first case. Okay. So next case, that much the pics were not here. The case of nosophobia. So noso means disease. We know that one. Phobia means fearful about the disease. And I don't want to die in the plastic cup. And coronavirus is there. And this patient expressed me that fear. Okay. And this is the expression what he said. I don't want to die in the plastic cup. So this patient is my father itself. So let us understand a little bit pathology itself. The nosophobia or illness anxiety disorder, which is an uncontrollable, persistent fear of having serious medical conditions. So they will think that they will have that disease itself. That much fear they. So the cause is anxiety, death of the near ones because of the incurable diseases, outbreak of epidemics like incurable diseases like the corona outbreak, pandemic. Watching the news related to the incurable illness. The people of dying with cancer, HIV, if they watch also, some people will have that nosophobia. Symptoms, they will produce like dizziness, nausea, increased pulse, sweating, rapid breathing, disturbed sleep, all this they will be produced. Okay, so as I told, this is a case of my father, 75 years old, a retired government engineer, enjoying his life like a king. He was retired from job, not from his own. I have used the king because he makes his own rules, isn't it? So we have to follow him. That kind of personality is there. And he loves tourism. And every year he goes for that. He will not sit in one place. That was his personality was there. Okay. So once in the last year, in March 2020, suddenly COVID-19, because of COVID-19 pandemic, we have been imposed a lockdown. It was so sudden. Okay. So what happened is we have all adjusted and we are trying to save our lives as well as to our parents, and we were in that havoc. What will happen? Whether it will subside or not? So many things which made us so much fearful about that COVID-19 in the first wave when it was imposed. So my parents' home is in the same hometown where I live in Dharwad only. I couldn't visit their home because of this lockdown. And my conversation with my parents was there through the telephone only. And whenever I used to call him, my father used to tell me regarding COVID only. He was not asking anything else. What to do this one, where to mask, whether to go out or not. Like that related to COVID only. And husband and my mother and father used to fight because of this COVID. My father made so strict to my mother that not to purchase the vegetables. That much he was strict. So just I consoled him, nothing will happen. Still, he was doing the same things like that one. And it went on like that. My mother used to complain, your father is becoming not comfortable at all and he's become a rebel like what to do like that. He was complaining. I said, he's not going out. No, that is the reason. Nothing else. It is my fault. I didn't do anything for like that. Then suddenly she said one day in the month of June. Before that, one more thing happened. What happened is in the May, little bit COVID lockdown was relaxed. And I visited my home, my parents' home. He made me to sit in the corridor. And he said, don't enter my home because you come from the COVID care center. By that time, our Bidijati Homeopathic Hospital was made as a COVID care center. I said, I have not done duty of I said, but still he said, no, you sit in the corridor and talk to me there only. I sat in the corridor and talked to him. And I said, nothing will happen. You don't care. No, you don't know. Only the old age people are dying. That's why you don't know anything like that. Again, he said same thing with the fearful that one. But still, I didn't do anything on that day also. I just came out and went to my home. And then After a week, my mother called and told, your father needs to be hospitalized. What happened? I said, he's not eating at all. He is not slept at all. He's very restless. You come down. When I rushed to my mom's house, what I see is my father was lying in his bed, dozing in his bed, moaning anxiously. I said, what happened, Pa? He said, your mother doesn't cook properly. That's why. Usually all husbands do not. Same thing. Okay. So your mother doesn't cook properly. That's why I'm not eating. That's why I have a nausea. He didn't admitting that he's suffering. Okay. Okay. And what happened next? What next? I said. Then he said, something bad is coming. I'm not able to swallow. He went on. I'm not feeling thirsty. I'm not getting sleep. Like that, he went on complaining. Suddenly he said, I don't want to die in the plastic cover. Suddenly he said, I was shocked. I said, what is that, Dad? He said, people are dying with the COVID-19 and their cremation is done in the plastic covers. I don't want to die like that. I have lived like this. I want to die. Death is okay, no problem. But I don't want to die with that COVID-19 where the cremation is done like this. Even my face will not be shown to you people. I don't want to die like that. That was his anxiety. That was that phobia regarding that disease. His anxious face was deathly pale. Eyes were filled with fear, hopelessness in his tone. I could appreciate that. Okay. I don't know. Suddenly tears came to me. Then I said, okay, let me think what I shall do. What can I do for him? Then again, arsenic alcohol. Why arsenic? Fear of disease, fear of death, restlessness, nausea at the sight of the food and all. So all this made me to think of arsenic. But why 1M? I was not thinking any lower potency, 6 or 3200. I went directly to the 1M because more clearly the positively the symptom, PQRS symptoms takes the characteristic form of the remedy, greater the susceptibility will be there. So we need higher potency. So when the PQRS symptoms of that is so clearly defined, of that drug, we need to prescribe in the higher potencies because the susceptibility will be very high. Once arsenic album 1M was given, by next day, his appetite was proper. He started having the food, nausea was reduced. Okay. After prescribing arsenic album 10M, he started moving out. Till that, he was there in the home itself. Jar has illustrated very clearly with this one. You can see these concentric rings, no? So this, 1 minute. So this he compared with concentric rings with radii, right? These concentric rings, what he mentioned that these all are the potencies. These all are the potencies, and these all are the radii. Bryonia, arnica, whatever I have mentioned now. These radii are, he named it as the remedies. Right? So when we see in the very inner circle, all the radii are very close to each other, very, very much close to each other. Okay, so this will happen when we do the drug proving. The most related remedies will be proving only the common and the general symptoms when they're proved in the lower and mother tincture potencies. Right? So how this radii will be recede from each other. They will move from each other from the inner circle to the outer circle to the outer circle and to the last circle. You can see the distance of that radii and the distance of the radii in the inner circle. That is the way the peculiarities of the drug will produce. Drug proving in the higher potencies will produce PQR symptoms, not in the lower potencies. That's what Jar said, that the difference between the action of the low and high potency is not in the strength or weaknesses. It is the development of the peculiarities. As we raise in the scale of potencies, the sphere of action will be enlarged. Right? So this I got it in that case. So PQR symptom, I got it in higher potencies. So arsenic album in higher potencies, that phobia and fear will be expressed. So going for the 1M potencies, and that deep pathology produced that wound, whatever it was, their wound only. Then restlessness and all. So that was there with the plus some PQR symptoms of that one, restlessness, thirstness, all those were there with chronic condition. So this made me to think of the lower potencies and the higher. Right. So when similimum acts with the proper potency, it acts upon a patient as a whole. That's what we wanted. As in the first case, patient's restlessness, weakness, as well as thirst improved. I have learned, this case has made me to learn about observation. The patient did not give me any history. He was restless and he was talking about irrelevant things only. Okay, but that my observation and clinical assessment of the wound formed the totality in that geriatric bed patient. So that helped me to think of lower the reaction and lower pathology and lower potency. Whereas in the second case, helped me to understand the peculiar symptoms where the patient susceptibility, because of that one, I have used the high potency in those cases without any deep pathology. Right? So I would like to conclude that these two cases shows extreme this and to that, right? One with a gross pathological change with a lower susceptibility, which required low potencies, and another one with functional change consisting of peculiar symptoms, high degree of susceptibility, so higher potency. Okay. So everything, but Stotler says that don't rely upon, don't judge by pathology and say that this much is the deep pathology, go for lower potency, this much is, this is only the functional and nervous affection, go for higher potency. No. What he says is, again, you need to determine the degree of susceptibility of patient at a given time. At that moment, what the patient will react, how he is, how his physical generals, what are his mental generals. Okay, what is his age? What is his constitution, temperament? Everything we have to take into consideration, gauge the susceptibility, then select the potency. Okay, so here in the presentation made me to think of lower potency and higher potency, no doubt. But again, Stotler remind us in the chapter posology saying that the degree of susceptibility of a patient at a given time is more important rather than all this. So this much only I wanted to present. Thank you so much, Patron Dr. B.D. Patel, Chairman Dr. H.S. Swami, Dr. Sripad Hegde, sir. So when sir called me in the last Tuesday, I said, sir, I have very less time, from Tuesday to Sunday, very less time. I said, no, you can present. He encouraged me. Then I requested, sir, I have published these cases in my college magazine, Homeopathy Science Frontier. Can I present those cases only, because I was busy with some other work and all. Okay, he said, then thank you so much, sir, Sripad, sir. And in the morning also, he asked me whether PPTs are prepared or not. I'm very, thank you so much for that, your encouragement. And all the KQHD family and all the participants for hearing me. I'm grateful, I'm thankful. I'm blessed to give this an opportunity to national webinar like this. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Manjula Haleholi, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thanks for your crispy and concise presentation. Now, now I hand over the mic to Dr. Sripad Hegde, President of Karnataka Qualified Homeopathic Association. Sir, please.
I think all they have utilized their time, whatever the things are allowed, and very systematically and very sincerely they have presented, and it was a well and a different way of approaches to the cases. Even our first speaker, Dr. Chaitali Kulkarni, has presented a very interesting cases. It was actually mind-blowing, as well as our another person, Dr. Sanjay Panikar. He gave a very broad idea or the tips to practice. And then Dr. Manjula, he also shared her experiences with a very elaborative way, even where the children or the students also could be able to follow that, how and why she has selected and what are the best things to do. And by the same time, KQHDA recognizes with the presence of Dr. Anand Kulkarni, Principal of BDJ Homeopathic Medical College, as well as Dr. From the Prabhu Kiran from Father Muller Homeopathic Medical College, and many staff from the different colleges of India as well as others. And really we are happy and proud. And on behalf of KQHDA, I request all of you to join KQHDA as a life member and that will be a good platform for a discussion, sharing our knowledge and experiencing the learning pathways. And I say thank you. Now I hand over to Dr. Trupti, our Additional Secretary.
Thank you, sir. My sincere thanks to all the three resource persons. Dr. Chaitali Kulkarni ma'am, who gave a wonderful explanation about post-COVID complications, especially about the long COVID symptoms and the importance of sattvic food for improving immunity and quick recovery. Then Dr. Sanjay Panikar sir, who explained his way of coming to a simillimum through the 9 steps. Then Dr. Manjula Halikoli ma'am, who explained the role of susceptibility and the using of potency wisely depending on the current scenario or the current presentation of the symptoms. So it was a wonderful presentation, and the last 2 hours went so smoothly with lot of information for everyone. I would like to thank our patron, Dr. B.D. Patel sir, President of KQHDA, Dr. Shripad Hegde sir, Chairman, Dr. H.L. Swami sir, Secretary of KQHDA, Dr. Shubha, all the office bearers of KQHDA, and all the participants who have taken out time to come on a Sunday and attend our webinar virtually. Thank you to one and all. For the recording of this webinar, you can log into our Facebook page, kqhda.india, and do visit our website, www.kqhda.com, for upcoming events and updates regarding our association. Thank you to one and all. Have a nice evening. Happy Sunday.
Thank you, Trupti. We can end the session.
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ending session for all.